The first question we're going to go through is the word problem, and the good news is the word problem on the test will be almost identical to this. So if you feel comfortable with this one, you'll be fine for the test. Basically, the first sentence is going to make our first equation. The second sentence is going to make our second equation. So our first equation, 4 shirts, 5 hats cost $88. Right here it says that shirts and hats, those are our answers, and it's in money. The last sentence says how much does each shirt and hat cost. So X represents the cost of a shirt, and Y represents the cost of a hat. So if I'm getting 4 shirts, if I multiply that times the cost of the shirt, that's how much money I'm spending in shirts. 5 hats times the cost of each hat, that gives me how much money I'm spending in hats. For example, if the shirts are $10 each, 4 shirts would be $40 because 4 times 10 is 40. Or if the hats were $10, 5 hats at $10 each would be $50. I'm adding up how much money I'm spending, and it's a total cost of $88. So that's our first equation. The second equation is very, very similar. 2 shirts, 2 hats, and that's a total of $40. Now you can solve this system. I personally would do this by elimination, by multiplying by -2. So I've got 4x plus 5y equals 88, and my new second equation, -4x minus 4y equals -80. Add these together, I get 1y equals 8. The y is our hats, so we have $8 per hat. Then find one of these equations. I'm going to choose 2x plus 2y equals 40 because it's smaller numbers. 8 is our y value, so if we plug 8 in right here, 2 times 8 is 16. 40 minus 16 is 24, so I have 2x equals 24, divide by 2, x equals 12. So the shirts are $12 and the hats are $8. If you are filling this in on EdSite, I think we did these already, you just type in that the shirts are $12. No funny business. Just type in 1, 2. Don't try to write it out or anything. And the hats are $8. Okay. This again, it says part A. I don't see why there's not a part B, is there? That's probably a mistake on my part. Yeah, there's not a part B. We are graphing the system of linear inequalities, and we need to highlight the solution set. Basically, highlight the solution set just means make sure that your solution set is obvious. I would suggest on paper that you shade each of these very, very lightly, and then whatever area is the solution set, the final solution, just darken that area by shading it in more. Our first inequality is y is greater than or equal to -3x minus 2. Remember, you start on the vertical y-axis. So -2, we start here. Our slope is -3. I could extend it up this way if I want to. This is greater than or equal to, which means we need a solid line. So I'm going to draw in a solid line. And greater than means we are going to shade up. So with green, I'm going to lightly shade up here. Next, I have y is less than 2. If it's just y, it is a horizontal line. That's a HOI. So we have a horizontal line at 2. Because it's plain less than, it's going to be a dashed line. And then it needs to be shaded down. So with purple, I'm going to kind of lightly shade this down. The double shaded region is this lower right. So that's the part that I'm going to shade in darker. So if I was using pencil, I would just shade this area in darker. So I would kind of like something like this. Shade this in darker so it's obvious that that is your final solution area. All right. If you are in my class and doing this on EdSite as well, which my class, your test will be on EdSite, here's what this problem looks like. Line A is this first line, and we're starting at -2. So grab this dot and drag it to -2. The next one is how you do your slope, so down 3/1. There's our first line. We need to decide if that needs to be dashed or solid. So these little radio buttons, that's what these are called, as radio buttons, tell us if we're doing dashed or solid. Now, this line in particular is responsible for 2 points. There's 1 point for the correct position of the line, and there's 1 point for making sure that it is a solid line. Don't bother with the shading yet. Then click line B. This one needs to be a horizontal line at 2. And I need it to be a dashed line. So again, you'll get 1 point for the correct position and 1 point for it being dashed. Then you click Solution Set, and you can click any of these areas. This would be counted as a wrong answer because you only want to shade the final solution. So you click only in this right bottom area. That is the final solution for the system. It's very helpful to do this problem on your paper so that you have a picture of what it's supposed to look like and you can see where the final solution is supposed to be so that you can then transfer it to the online graph and click only the final solution area. The next question is basically multiple choice. Get this out of the way. Notice that all of these lines are exactly the same. So these 4 graphs have the exact same lines. They are both solid lines, which they are both supposed to be solid lines. It's just which portion is shaded. So I'm going to start by focusing on this line. This is the one that starts at 1 on the y-axis. That would be this line. Excuse me. And it's a greater than or equal to, so it should be shaded up. So if this is my line, it needs to be shaded up. That means this region or this region would be the final solution area. Oh, sorry. This region or this region, somewhere up here would be the final solution area. And in this one, neither of those are shaded, so that's not your answer. In this one, neither of those are shaded, so that's not your answer. In this one of those is shaded, so it might be your answer. And here, one of them is shaded, so it might be your answer. Now, let's check the other one. We have to do a little bit of work. Subtract 2x on both sides. Divide by -5. What happens when you divide by a negative? That sign has to switch. So y is less than or equal to 2/5 x minus 2. Honestly, I don't care what the slope is. I really care about this number. That's the -2. That tells me this is the line we're dealing with. Now, I don't really need to look at the first 2 graphs. I only need to look at the second 2 graphs. It says less than or equal to, so we're going to shade down. So one of these 2 areas needs to be shaded, and it's not on that 4th graph. So I know that that 4th graph is not my answer. One of these 2 is shaded on this graph, and it's also shaded in the correct area for the first one, so that is our answer. The other thing that you could do is on your own paper, you could kind of sketch this out and draw in the 2 lines and do the shading. And then this one, let's see, there, and do the shading and see that the overlapping is in this area, so then you would know that that was your correct answer. So there's 2 different ways to do that. One of them is kind of eliminating the wrong answers. The other one is sketching it on your paper to find the correct answer. Whichever of those works the best for you would be absolutely fine.